everything works fantastic, and then some days.
I think it's working here.
Hey. Well,
You know,
hi,
I have
everybody.
a theory about technology, but
Well, hi, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We've had some technical difficulties here this afternoon. Thanks for your patience. And for those who are just seeing this live, you didn't even, or recorded, you didn't even know what happened. So sorry for any confusion. I'm Carri with Hanna Camp Hill, and I'm here today with Chris Detweiler from our Camp Hill office and John Tice from our Hershey office. And we are here today to talk a little bit about real estate. Before we get started, this is our first time going live on Facebook. So if you gentlemen would just take a second and introduce yourselves. John, can you go first and just share a little bit about who you are?
Hi, everyone. It's John Tice. I manage the office in the Hershey market for Hanna. I'm a 40-plus year veteran of the real estate business, over 20 years in full-time management and in the Hershey market. And we're just excited to bring you some updates on what's happening to the real estate business. Are homes selling? Are people listing homes? What do we do if we want to? And that's where we're going to begin. Chris?
Well, my name's Chris Detweiler. I'm the broker manager in the Camp Hill office. I was joking earlier today that hopefully this isn't a train wreck. So I don't know if it was a train wreck, but we left the station about 28 minutes late. But it seems that Zoom and Facebook weren't cooperating, but we're here now. So I hope a few of you stuck around. And if you're just popping in, I hope you stick around a little bit to talk real estate. If you have questions, please post on our office page. Carri is going to be monitoring any questions that come in. But I have 25 years experience in the business. John, we think about 40 or 42. And so hopefully we can answer all your questions.
Right. Well, I know you kind of both talked about this a little bit, but John, what did prompt us to go live today?
Well, you know, one is that we have all these tools available. We have everybody going online these days, whether it's your children in school, the colleges have all gone online. Naturally, all of our data has been online, but we wanted to take advantage of some of the tools and bring to you some current and updated information right from us, because Chris and I are in the trenches every day dealing with the issues, working with the agents, being the guy in the middle between the agent, the buyers, and the sellers. And everybody's kind of looking at us and going, well, what do we do now? And what's happening? And we're here to tell you some of the good, bad, and the ugly of what's taking place as far as we're seeing right now. And of course, going live gives us the greatest reach when it comes to being online. We want to get as many people, keep them as informed as possible.
Well, I know I always enjoy speaking with both of you and how knowledgeable you are. And as you've already said, just the extensive experience that you have in the business. So thank you both for being here and for willing to participate today. Chris, you know, even on our Facebook cover here, it says that our virtual offices are open. Can you just, people may not really know what that means. What do we mean when we say our virtual offices are open?
Well, I'm dating myself a little bit, but when I got my real estate license in 1996, I didn't have a cell phone. We didn't have a web page. I didn't have email. So real estate activities meant that I drove the contract to Hershey at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and I slid it through the mail slot. And while we still deliver some contracts in person, in this day and age, we have the ability for buyers and sellers to sign a listing contract, any employment contract, an agreement of sale, and have all these things done with digital signing. And you know, now, because of the circumstances that we're in, we have the ability to virtually tour homes and conduct our business in that way. And while it may not be perfect, it certainly does allow people to buy and sell in this current marketplace with the restrictions that we're all under.
You say before, you came in before computers and cell phones. I was here before copiers, fax machines, before FedEx.
And the printing
were you around
press.
for the? Were you? Well, I think they had that. We had carbon paper. Were you around for the carbon paper?
I remember
days?
carbon paper as well. They used to have, our
Those were the
contracts
great
used to have, John, our contracts used to have the buyer, each copy was for a certain person.
That's,
And every time you pulled a page off, it was harder and harder to read.
yeah, but you're talking about NCR forms. I'm talking about actual sheets of carbon. So we'd have a page of a contract, a piece of carbon paper, another page, and we'd layer them up that way and sit there with the typewriter. It's tough being old, but it's a lot of fun to be here, and I love to embrace all the technology. And it's always been my thing, because I believe I came in with such a handicap because there was no technology that I wanted to take advantage of, and I still do. Carri, what do you have for us? We could do this all day, and he and I always do. We'll have the tournament.
Chris has mentioned some current restrictions, and I know that real estate's been in the news in the last week or so. So people may not know what can and can't be done in real estate. Are people still buying and selling houses right now?
Was that a call, one for Chris or for me?
Sorry, John. Yes, John, you.
Well, the thing that's fascinating, we're finding more and more people are taking that adventure and they're doing business online. The thing that the folks deciding what we can and cannot do are overlooking is that regardless of the virus, the weather, the conditions in the world, people move. They need to buy, they need to sell. And one thing about real estate people, I said in another interview, it's hard to stop a real estate agent. Where they're going to find where there's a will, there's a way. We're embracing this technology. I'm able to sit in my backyard, do a virtual phone call like this, a video call. We're going to record it. We're broadcasting it through Facebook. So we've linked up about 3 technologies. I think it's tremendous. And yes, we can do all these things digitally. So it's not for everybody. We have many people that still, it's kind of like me. If I was going to buy this shirt, I'm going to walk in and touch it. So I'm not the best online shopper. Many people want to walk through a home, they want to touch it. We're working with tools right now that we're going to bring you a more enhanced experience, and it's going to far outlive what's taking place right now because of the technology or because of the viruses, that we're going to suddenly look at those and say, wow, that's convenient. And I want that. I want more of that in my home search. It's one of the reasons we're doing this today, is to demonstrate that these tools will work. We're training ourselves, we're training our agents to be able to use them so that we can bring all this into our everyday experience moving forward. I don't think we're going back from a lot of this, just like these video calls. If it saves me jumping in my car and driving to Camp Hill to have a meeting with Chris, but I can still look him in the eye, I'm all for this. This is pretty cool. Did I actually answer your question?
I'm sure it was a great answer.
In a kind of roundabout way.
It is true that I think for all of us, personally and professionally, some of the challenges of COVID have also revealed some great tools that we can use. And it is exciting to be a part of and see how many virtual tools we have available. I know there's even a landing page on our Howard Hanna website that just runs through so many different things that people can use and that our agents can use to stay connected and to move forward in following their real estate dreams right now. So it is exciting. And I know personally too, just some of the things we've been able to pick up, like Zoom. Who had ever heard of Zoom before? And now it's just a daily part of life for so many of us.
It's a stock we all should have bought about 2 months ago. If they're actually traded, I don't even know if they are, but this thing has got to be blowing up big time.
Hindsight is 2020. Chris, if I was someone who was thinking about selling a home, whether it was currently today during COVID or coming soon, what are 2 or 3 things that you would tell me to do as a potential seller to be prepared to sell my home?
Well, first of all, I think the question comes down to, is there a need to sell right now, or are you looking to do something in the next month or two? As we've discussed, there are some limitations right now. We can't physically show property. We can't physically interact with the buying and selling public because of our industry's classification right now in the state of Pennsylvania. Let me start off. I was looking at some statistics today, and to give you some sense of what's going on here in the month of April. Last April, looking at the 1st to the 22nd, we had well over 1,000 new listings hit the market. This year, that number dropped to 417. So what that was a 69% decrease in new properties coming onto the market. But if you look at properties that went under contract, the reduction is 68%. So what that shows is the demand really hasn't waned. If you look at that as a proportion, I mean, we're essentially selling. It looks like the demand's a little bit higher. When you look at the number of listings that hit the market, we don't know what those homes are going to settle for yet. Most of those are pending homes or active homes right now. But I can tell you that the new homes coming on the market are actually up 1.5%. So the first thing I would say is if there's a real need to list your home right now, I don't see a reason why this isn't something you should explore. I think for a lot of people, they're going to want to wait a little bit longer until the stay-at-home order has been relaxed or removed. And if that's the case, there's a number of things you can be doing right now. I'd say speak with your realtor first and foremost, but you can start to stage your home. Start to do some packing and decluttering around the house, which is something we're always talking to people about doing. We can get paperwork done in advance. There are disclosures. So, with a lot of people stuck at home right now, it's a good time to be getting the paperwork done. We can get the listing paperwork done, get the disclosures done. Photographs, well, it's a little hard to do that right now with professional photography, but we can get the listing ready to go in the MLS. So if you're thinking, I'd like to go on the market May 15th or June 1st, we can do a lot of that up front right now, so that once that time comes, it's a matter of uploading photos and hitting the start button, basically getting the marketing process started. And the other thing is if you're a seller and you're also looking to buy, it's a good time to go ahead and I think John can pick up on the buying side of this, but getting pre-approved and getting your ducks in a row, so to speak, to purchase a home.
And one thing that is a major change that's taking place right now, if you're a buyer, as this crisis has gone on, it's becoming a cash flow crisis for a lot of people, including your lenders. Naturally, they start getting nervous. When they get nervous, rates change, terms change, and that's exactly what's taking place. They're starting to change some of the terms in the background. So if you're like some of the buyers I'm working with and you were pre-approved a month ago, 2 months ago, before the crisis set in, and that pre-approval may not work for you today. And we're seeing that a couple of the lenders have changed their terms. And what I mean by that, they've raised the bar on what it takes to qualify for that loan. So some of the credit rankings have trickled up. So if you were on just the edge of qualifying because of your credit ranking, your credit rating, you might be out right now. So if you have a pre-approval, call your lender, have them update it. Also, the investors that are buying these loans are changing some of their criteria. So there's actually been two things that have been occurring, but both of them make it a little harder to qualify for a loan right now, just because they're getting nervous. One of the key things is that when you buy a home, the one thing that you really want to do to take advantage of all the benefits is be sure and make your first mortgage payment, regardless of what you read and what you hear. You might think, well, I'm going to buy it and there's relief out there for me because of something that the president's put into effect as part of this bailout business. Make your first payment. If you don't do that, you're going to find it tough sledding. Once you get through the first payment, then you can look at some of your options. So if you're in that gray area right now and you're thinking, well, hey, I don't have to pay my rent, I don't have to make my mortgage payment, make that first payment. There is forbearance. There's a lot of benefits, but none of them really kick in, or the majority of them will not kick in unless you make that first payment and really untie your lender's hands. but get your pre-approval updated. One thing that we've put together, if you're just sitting around and thinking, well, when we get through this, I'm tired of being in this apartment. I need more space. I need a better home. You know, this quarantine housing, or the joke is this the home that you want to spend the next quarantine in? Might be the time for you to get out and do something differently. Well, at Howard Hanna, we like resources, and we put together the essential guide to buying a home. And we can get this to you if you just leave your information in the chat that goes along with this segment. We'll be glad to put this together. It's a PDF, but you look at the table of contents, it is a pretty extensive guide to what we can do, whether it's selecting an agent, qualifying yourself, what are the payments going to be? Number one question that has never changed in my time, what are closing costs? How much is that? Where do they go? What do they mean? We're going to cover all these things for you, and some checklists of buying a home. You just want to be more in control. We'll be happy to send that document to you so that you can get to be an informed consumer when you go out there to make that purchase. I have no doubt that stepping up and buying a home now, or when they start to open the gates and let us go back to work, is still going to be a great thing. I think we're going to see more people step into the buying because they want to control their destiny, they want to control their costs, and they want to be in control of where I spend my next quarantine. It's going to be an interesting thing. I've lived through, I think this is my 5th crisis in real estate since I've come into the business. I've seen interest rates in the 13, 14, my first mortgage, 12.5%. Today we're flirting with 3. So the rates aren't really the issue. Credit rankings have always been an issue. So you've got a couple of things that you want to pay attention to as you're coming into it. But the one thing I've seen after every crisis, including 2008, when everyone said, oh, I'm never going to buy a home, and now people have come out in droves to buy it, it's still the best investment you'll live in, because you can have a CD, you can have your money in bank, you can't live in it. Homes are still a great investment, and we're seeing long-term, it's still the best place to hang out. I always say it's the investment you can live in.
You know, and I think, you know, while we're certainly aware, a lot of people right now are hurting, trying to get through this crisis as far as, you know, layoffs. Everything I read from economists, you know, you look at Goldman Sachs and their prediction, they are anticipating the economy to come back very quickly. We have a lot of demand right now. We have a lot of buyers and sellers that right now honestly are taking, they are waiting until these restrictions are loose, but they're ready to go. So I think I think that's promising. And I think the other thing that's important is that even though right now we're really forced to do this virtually, a lot of the tools that we've been using at Howard Hanna, we're going to continue to use going forward, because we are going to see a change in our industry in the short term. We may see less open houses in person, so we're really embracing virtual open houses and virtual tours. So we understand the public is going to be demanding that we do things a little bit differently. So we're really taking this time right now to be prepared. So once things start to open up a little bit, you know, we're going to have the tools that are needed, and our agents are going to be trained to go out and provide the services that the public is looking for.
You know, one thing about Howard Hanna, they've come through other crises before, and you look back into the 1980s, I believe it's the 80s, when they invented their money-back guarantee. And again, it's another tool that we have in our arsenal. We've had it for many years, and it kind of comes and goes in and out of fashion, I'll say, because depending on the mood of the consumers. I'm expecting people to be a little cautious as we move forward. Well, depending on a number of criteria, our company has what's called a 100% money-back guarantee on a home that you buy through a Hanna agent. We're dusting it off right now, making sure that everybody's up to date with all the terms so that they can offer the best service to you. But that is a tool that you may want to take advantage of when you're buying your next home, so that if you're uncertain, if you're concerned about your job, affordability, just what's going to happen in the fall, we have a special tool for you that again, it's been around. Chris, is it 1980 that was invented?
I'm not sure the exact date, John, but we've had it around for a while.
It's around as long as you are, so that gets us back before 2000 for sure.
There you go. Late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s.
And I'd like to reiterate, I'm not sure how clearly I conveyed this earlier, but while we're seeing less listings hitting the market, the demand has not really decreased. And, we really anticipate home prices to continue to appreciate as they have been. So I think just to follow up a little bit on an economic forecast, no one can really tell the future, but I think in a lot of ways, and in most ways, the economy is fundamentally strong and the housing market is fundamentally strong. So I think those are positives going forward.
Yeah, without a doubt, there's tremendous demand. I know personally, I have buyers waiting for us to blow the whistle so we can go walk through a house. Why don't we just talk a little bit about our next initiative? And this is actually our test drive for something that we're unleashing this week, and that will be our new online showcase of homes virtual edition of open houses. And Chris and I have been tasked with bringing a format together. Carri has been a great help in keeping the two of us focused because apparently that's a problem.
We need someone to steer the ship. So Carri is our captain. It's Captain Carri Kunkle.
The captainette. Well, we're bringing to you, Chris, tell them what our baby is all about.
So we're going to start off on a Sunday at 1 o'clock. We're going to use Zoom and Facebook Live to feature some of our homes for sale and do a virtual open house. We're going to do it again 4 o'clock, I think, on Wednesday. Carrie's giving me so 4 o'clock on Wednesday of next week. We're going to do it again. And again, this is just, there's some things we can't change in life. So we're going to do what we can to work around some of these restrictions. And we're going to hold open houses virtually. And we're certainly hoping that everyone comes back out again and tunes in on Sunday and again on Wednesday.
So this is becoming a team sport. We're going to incorporate some media that comes from our sellers, whether it's video or some pictures. We're getting sellers more involved because by law right now, we can't walk into your house and take pictures to update our tours, create virtual tours, and use some products. This kind of sprung on us that whoever thought I wouldn't be able to walk through a vacant house and take a picture as part of this lockdown, but that is one of the restrictions right now. So we're working with some owners that are adept at using their phone to take some pictures, to take some video, and we're looking to bring a virtual open house tour to you. We'll be doing that this Sunday, and it's I kind of find it amusing the number of agents that stepped up and said, yeah, I want to do that, and the number of owners that are willing to take their time and help us with this. Like I said, you've got people that always need to buy and always need to sell. That's been true my whole career. And we're here to try and accommodate that and keep things moving and get them prepped, answer their questions. So whether they move forward now, or if they decide I'm going to wait the 2-3 weeks till they reopen our economy and let us go back at least into a vacant house, we're going to be ready to do that.
Well, I know I am very excited for Sunday's virtual showcase of homes, and it's been great to see the way our agents have just stepped up and stepped into the challenges right now and embraced the technology and the pieces that Howard Hanna's put into place for us. As John said, we have a home buyer's guide that we can send to you. We also have a home seller's guide that we can send to you. If that's something you're interested in, you can send us a private message and with your contact information, and we will make sure that gets out to you. As we get ready to wrap up and let this audience go today, is there anything else that you gentlemen would like to add? Chris?
Well, I would just say that if there are any questions we didn't get to, please go on our Facebook page and let us know. Carri, if you've been watching this, I don't know if we have any questions that came in, but any need you have, we're working 7 days a week, and we're here to answer questions or help you out, whether it's now or a month or two from now.
Definitely, and you guys have done a great job covering anything that has come up. So From that perspective, we are
You know,
good.
technology's always been my thing, so I'm actually excited to see all these tools coming together. And we got a few things up our sleeve that we'll be training tomorrow in anticipation of Sunday. So I would tell you to stay tuned, check back with us on Sunday at 1 and see what else we do. And hopefully we're not going to break the internet while we go forward to do this, but we're going to bring a lot of amateurs online that are going to try and bring you a real nice experience in what is real estate today in the virtual world. My prediction, these are going to all be things that'll be with us for a long time. So they're going to become time-saving devices for both buyers, sellers, agents. Anytime you can save me time, you are my new pal, because at my age, I don't know how much time I have left. So I like to use all the minutes that I get.
Excellent.
Thank you both very much. Thanks again, everyone, for your patience, and we will look forward to seeing you Sunday at 1.
And it's Earth Day. Get out and enjoy the sun.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Carri. You did a great job keeping us online. I wouldn't want that job, but you've been a
All
great
right. Thanks,
help.
guys.
Thank you both.